Hi everyone. In last sessions, what we discussed? We discussed the different commands which are available in our Docker. So already we discussed some commands and already we run our existing images and we created the container. And already we discussed the Docker architecture. So in last sessions, we completed first Docker architecture. After that, we completed the Docker setup. After that, we completed some commands which we had like Docker images, Docker PS, Docker PS-A. Then, if I want to pull that image from the Docker registry or Docker hub, then we have to go with Docker pull. Then, if I want to run that image, then what we have to do? So we have to go with Docker run command. After that, if I want to remove that, if I want to delete that container, then we have to go with Docker rm command. Then we have the stop, start, RMI, logs. So these are the we discussed in our last two sessions. So today we are going to see our next topic. So in last sessions, you can see here that we discuss these are the things. Okay. So in right now we are going to discuss our next topic. So already we know that what is the Docker. Docker is a containerization. It is a open source tool. So also it is a enterprise level paid. But if I want to use it for the publicly, then you can use it the free of the source tool. So we know that it is a consistency. Then if we have the scalability, then portability, each and everything, we have the number of advantages for the Docker. So that's why we are going to use Docker in our project. So if I want to execute my application code, then with the help of the Docker, we can execute easy. So today we are going to see how we can create the images, how we can pull that images. So not we are going to today create the images. In upcoming sessions we can, let's see. But today we are going to deploy the one Java application project by using of the Docker. So you can see here the already I installed the Docker desktop application here. You can use web application, either you can download the desktop application. You can see here the Docker desktop. It's easy. Just you need to the search on the Docker desktop, then you need to the download it and you need to the install it. So then at that time you have to select the it's a personal, not a work. Then you can log in your email ID and then you can use it. So this is my personal. You can see here you can see here the containers, then images, volume, Kubernetes, each and everything we can see here. So you can see here I added some images for my Java application. So you can see here that this is my Docker name. You can see here my Docker names also here. This is my Docker name, and in that you can see here the Docker demo. This is my project name which I deployed in my Docker registry hub. So I pushed the images in my Docker hub. So you can see here the images. Okay, so you can see here the in images we have the Docker image. You can see here the Docker container also. Then volumes also we have, each and everything we have here. So today we are going to see here the how to deploy the Java application by using of the Docker. So already we discussed what is the purpose of the Docker and already we discussed the architecture over Docker. So let me connect my account also here. So already I connected with my Git bash. You can see here. Already we discussed the architecture. This is my Docker file. So who are going to write it? We are going to write it and we are giving to the instruction to the Docker. This is my text text. So we are going to install it while we execution our application code. So once we executed our application code number of machine, then we cannot face any type of the issues because whenever we using of the without using of the Docker, then we can see the number of issues in our multiple machines due to the some configuration, due to the small mistake from the manual side. So it depends on, but Docker is a very important here. So we are going to write it for the Docker one file. After that, once we write it the Docker file, then we are going to build the image. Image is nothing but whatever we have the application code. That application code we are going to wrap in one file. Then whatever we require the dependencies already we added in our Docker file. So these are the softwares we required. We are going to install, we are going to execution our application code. So it will be create a one Docker image. Then if I want to keep that image for the future references, then you can keep the images in the Docker registry or Docker hub. So you can see that we have the multiple machines. So once we Docker images is run, then we are going to create the Docker container here. So this is our Docker architecture. So you can see here the, but here already I connected my user. You can see here the present working directory where I'm in the, so I'm going to clear here. So if I want to execution my Java application code, then what we have to do? So we have to pull that Docker image. So from the Docker image where we are going to pull it, right now I'm going to pull the image from my Docker registry hub. So this is the public image. Anyone can download it and anyone can use it. So just we have to enter the Docker pull this command. After that, what we have to do? We have to mention the my doc dev. Dev is nothing but this is my user. So 1900. After that, what we have to do? My image name is a Docker demo. So I'm going to use here the latest. Latest is nothing but suppose multiple times we are going to changes in our application. In upcoming sessions, we are going to see suppose multiple developers are working on it and every time we are going to push it our code into the repository. And once every time whenever we put the code, then our features are going to update continuously there. So that's why I'm going to call the latest one image because I want to call. This is the optional right now. You can use it. Otherwise, that's it. Docker pull. Then we have to mention my register Docker account name. Then after that, we have to, where we have the Docker image, my Docker image in that directory. Then we are calling that Docker image. Then after that, I'm going to call here the latest one. Latest one is nothing but, so we are calling the latest image, which are updated one. So you can see here the, whenever we call the Docker pull here, you can see here the, we are going to pull that Docker images in my Linux virtual machine. You can see here the, we successfully pulled. You can see here the status is download newer image here. So I want to verify the image are pulled or not here. So you can, by using of the command Docker images, you can see here the Docker image. You can see here the, you can see here the, we can see the, we pull the successfully Docker image here. This is my repository. In this repository, so this is my repository. In this repository, we have the Docker demo images. So you can see that this is my tag name, which is your latest one, and you can see the my image ID here. After that, I want to run this image. I want to execute my code in the in Docker image. What we have right now, we have the application code and dependencies. I want to execute this image. Then what we have to do? We have to go with Docker run. Then you can mention image ID. Otherwise, you can mention the your repository name also. But whenever we are going to mention here, suppose I'm going to mention here demo, sorry, dev, then we have to navigate to that directory. You can see here the Docker run. You can see the, this is my Spring Boot application because I deployed the code. I created the one application in my Java. So that's why you can see here the Spring Boot here. But whenever we, you can see here the, this is the started demo application here. You can see here that this is the port name and you can see here the, can we see our username here? No, we cannot see here because right now in the that terminal. So that's why we are going to see here the whenever we run. But I want to check my, this is the, we can say called as a execute our images. After that, what will be happen? It will be created one container. Where we are going to create the container? It is going to create the container in my Linux virtual machine. But I want to check the log. Then what we have to do? So we have to exit from this terminal because we are in the in this state mode. So I want to check the Docker log, container log, sorry, Docker container logs. Then what we have to do? We have to exit that container. So exit from that command by by pressing the Control C. Once we exit from that command, so once we exit from that terminal, you can see our Docker is container is existed. You can see here the Docker PS. PS is nothing but, you can see here the, can we see the any command? No, because container is not running because we are existed from this container. Already we run that container. Once we run the image, then we are going to run the container. Once we run the container, then we can see the container. But right now we are exited from that container. So that's why we cannot see any running the container. I want to check the stop container. Then what we have to do? So we have to go with Docker PS. Then you can see here the 2 minutes ago we created and we exited. But I don't want to like this. So whenever I'm going to running my images, then I want to check log. I want to perform another command. Then what we have to do? So we have to go with detach mode here. We have to go with detach mode. Earlier, what was that? It was the interaction mode. You can see here the interactive mode. You can see here the, this is the information. So we are in the interactive mode. So apart from that, any, can we perform the any commands? No, we cannot perform any command there. So that's why I'm not using for that like this. So I'm going to with detach mode. So let me clear once again. Let me delete that container. So how we can create, how we can delete the suppose I want to delete that container, then how we can delete it? So let me verify container ID here. So where is my container ID? So you can see here, this is my container ID. So this is my container ID. You can use that container ID and you can delete it. So what was that command? So we have to go with Docker rm. So whenever we enter the Docker rm, then what will be happen? It will be happen. We are going to delete the images. But right now my requirement is different here. So I want to delete the container. Then what we have to do? So we have to go with Docker rm. Then we have to that copy that the container ID. So you can delete it here. So you can see here the Docker. Can we see or not here? Docker PS, then hyphen A. See, we deleted successfully our container also. So you need to the copy that container ID. And once we enter copy that container ID, then we have to use the command here Docker rm, then container ID. Then we are going to successfully deleted our container. So I want to run my image in the detached mode. Then how we can run it? So run Docker run. Then we are going to call that detach. Let's see our image is available or not. You can see that our images is available because we are not deleted yet. So after that, what we are going to do here? So Docker run. After that, I'm going to mode here the detach mode. Then my repository name here the dev. Then Docker demo here. So you can see the we are in the detached mode. Whenever we run the detached mode, can we see here the our Spring Boot running terminal here? No, we cannot see. And you can see here the we can we see the my container is running or not here? You can see here the by using of the PS command. Earlier, can we see? No, we cannot see because we are in the interactive mode. So that's why once we exited from that command, so we can exited also container also. So I want to like this. So I want to go with like this, then we can use it this one. So I want to check the log my container ID. Then what we are going to perform here. So once we are in the running state, because our container is running by using of the detached mode, I want to perform another command. Then you can perform another commands also here. Docker log, then you can go with Docker. Docker run, sorry, Docker logs. Then you can see the we are in the run mode here. So this is my log. So what was the tech stack here? I'm using here the Spring Boot here. So I deployed one Spring Boot Java application here. So I want to execute that application code. So that's why we are going to use here the Docker, and we are going to call the images. Already I have the existed image here. So that existing image, I'm going to use it here. So I will show you later on how to create the images on the local, how to push that images, how to write the Docker file. We will see in upcoming session. So this is the we are in the detached mode. So what is the difference between the interaction mode and detached mode? Interaction mode is nothing but whenever we perform that. So apart from that, whatever we want to perform that command, we are not going to perform it. So that's why we are not going with interaction mode. So I want to go with detached mode. Then we can go with -d. Then we can see the how many so we can see the my running container also. We can perform the number of commands also, because we are in the detached mode. Once we are in the detached mode, then as per our requirement wise, we can perform the different commands here. So you can see here the Docker. So Docker ps, earlier can we see that? No, we cannot see that because we are exiting. Once we exited, then our container is stopped. Once it is container is in stop mode, then can we see the running state mode? No, we cannot see it because Docker PS is a nothing but it is showing only running state mode container. Suppose I want to check the stop mode, then how we can see it? Hyphen E. So you can see the this is the you can see here the this is my stop mode container. So you can see the both of the container. So running container also we can see the stop container. So both of the running container, stop container, whatever we need to the command, we can see it like this. So I want to check the, suppose here the, I want to deploy the my Java application. Then how we can execute here the Java application, how we can deploy it, let's see. Because I deployed the one WebEx application. Before going to deploy here, we need to understand how we can exactly calling the images, then how we can once we pull that image from the Docker hub, then how we can pull that image into the my host machine is nothing but it is my Linux virtual machine. Because this is my Linux virtual machine, this Linux virtual machines, I installed one Docker application. In that Docker application, we are going to create it one Docker container. But you can see here the this is my one thing here, this is my another thing here. So where we have the Docker Hub, Docker Hub we have here, Docker Hub we have here. This Docker Hub, in that Docker Hub, we have the multiple images. So you can see the we can see the multiple images. You can see the multiple images here because we can see in Docker Hub for future references, we are going to store our multiple images. Image is nothing but we can see called as a it is application code, and whatever we require the software, that required software we are going to package that. So that is the images. So I want to pull that Docker hub. So I want to pull that image from the Docker hub. You can see here the once we pull that and once we run that image, then what will be happen? The container going to create it. So once we pull that image, so that is fine. Where we are going to pull that image, we are going to pull that image into my virtual Linux machine. In that virtual Linux machine, we have the Docker application. So Docker software, we can see call it. Here we have the Docker software. So this is my virtual machine. So you can see here the this is my virtual machine. So we can call it the VM. Okay. So that VM, after that, here we are, once we pull that image here in my virtual machine, after that, what we are going to run that image. Once we run that image, then what we are going to see here, we are going to create it one container here. So what is this one? So this is the one container. So one container is going to create it. But can we see any relation between the my host machine and Docker container? So Docker container, once a Docker container is created, but this Docker container somewhere is going to run it. So this is also one virtual machine. So Docker container is nothing but it is going somewhere. So we can say this is also virtual Linux machine. So is there any relation between the Docker, our host machine, or Docker container container virtual machine? No, there is a no relation. But I want to deploy that one. Then what we have to do? So we are here the continuously we are going to interaction with Docker Hub. By using of the Docker Hub, we are pulling that images. So as per my requirement wise, we are pulling the latest one image because I want to deploy my application code. Then what we have to do? So we are going to call, we install the Docker in my virtual machine. In that virtual machine, so we are pulling that image into the my virtual machine. After that, what we are going to do? We are going to run that image. Once we run that image, then my container is going to create it here. So, but you can see here, so this is the one different machine. This is my another different machine. This is the host machine. In that host machine, so we are going to create the one container. That container machine also is a different machine. So, but I want to deploy the application. Then how we can deploy the application? So we are going to create it here the relation between the two machines. Then how we can create the relations between the two machines? So we are going to create the port mapping in between the two machines here. So I'm going to create the one port mapping. By using of the port mapping, we are going to connect my host machine to the container machine. So this is the very important concept here because you can see here, so you can see here the once I want to check the running container here. So this is the running container. In that running container, I want to check that logs for that container. So let me copy this container ID. Then we can see the, you can see the, so let me, you can see the, where is my port mapping here. So you can see the Tomcat is initialized. After that, we are going to start the services. We are going to see here the start my servlet. So someone is aware about of this one. So that, so just this is the all each and everything from the developer side only. So what is the Tomcat, what is the servlet, then what is the Spring, then web application. Just leave it because we are going to deploy the application. We are not going to write it the code here. You can see here the this is the my 8080. Then what is the 8080? 8080 is nothing but, so whatever we created that code, I want to check that my code is working or expected or not, working as expected or not. Then we are going to check it at local level by using of the 8080 that port mapping. We can check my features are built or not. So by using of the 800, we can see. So same like this. So I want to deploy the publicly that my application code. Then what we have to do? So we have to create the one image. Then we have to call that image into the Docker, my virtual machine. Then once we pull that image, then we are going to create it one container. Then container, in that container, can we see any public IP that machines? No, we cannot see. We don't know the these machines where we are created. We don't know, but we have the host machine here. That host, by using of the host machine, we can map this machine to the this machine also. So I want to create relation between the two machines. Then what we have to do? So we have to go with port mapping here. So how we can create it, the port mapping, I will show you. So this is my host machine. You can see this is my host machine. So then we are going to create it like this. So first one is a host port 8080. This is my host machine. After that, what we are going to see here. So I want to build the relation between the two machines. Then you can go with 9090, any of the port name. Either you can keep as it is 8080 for the same, because I want to access the this application publicly. So then what we are going to do, we are going to run that image, and once we run that image, can we access this container? No, we cannot access this container because we don't know the public IP that container machines. So that's why we are going to build the relation between the host machine and container machine. So that's why we are going to port that images also. So I want to access my application code on the web browser. So that's why we are going to create it here, the relation between the host machine and Docker machine here. So I want to same relation between that one. Then what we are going to see here. So control C is nothing but we are exited each and everything here. So Docker images, you can see here we can see the Docker images. I want to create a one port mapping. Then what we are going to see here, I want to delete that container. Let me delete that container also, because I want to build the relation rm. Then container ID here, we are going to, okay. So it is saying the, okay. So it is saying the, it is a running state. So rm, then forcefully I'm going to delete it. Okay. So you can see here the PS. No, we cannot see any container. F is nothing but we are going to forcefully stop that container, and we are going to delete that container. So after that, what we are going to see here, I'm going to create it one port mapping in between the container machine and my host machine. When we are going to create the container, whenever we run that image, then it is going to create the container. So that's why we are going to build the relation. So then what we have to do here, so Docker run, then we are going to see the detach mode. So why we are going to detach mode? Because I want to execute multiple commands here. So that's why we can see, we can go with detach mode. After that, -p is nothing but it is, we can say, called the port mapping. Then what we have to do, we have to take that host port number. What was that host port number? So it was the 8080. So you can put anything while we're developing of the Java application. Okay. So after that, what we have to do? So we are going to call that 8080. So this is my first port mapping. Host port mapping, then container port. After that, what we have to do? So we have to call that images. So what was that image name? So dev, then that my repository, Docker demo. Then you can see here that we created one container here. Can we see that container? Yes, we can see that container. Then how we can see that container? Docker PS. Then you can use that container ID and we can see that container also. So Docker, then logs, then what we can see, this is my container ID. Then you can see here you can see here we successfully mapped that one. So once we map that one, then what we have to do? So we have to call that IP addresses, and then we can see our application execution or not here. So my application is running or not here. You can see the internally we are going to use the Tomcat, but where we are going to create the Tomcat here, we create it? No, we are not created it, because we are using the containerization process. So that's why I created one image. That image, I'm going to pull that image into my host virtual machine, that host virtual machines, I'm going to image run that one. Once we run that image, then we are going to create the one container. In that container, there is a no relation between the container machine and host machine. So that's why we are going to create the one relation by using of the port mapping. Once we build the relation, then can we access that application? Let's see. Can we access my application here? No, we cannot access it. Let's see. I will tell you what will be here, what will be the issue here. So whenever we are going to use here the public IP addresses here, once we copy that public IP addresses, then we are going to see here the 8080. You can see here the we cannot reach like that because we don't have any incoming traffic here in this my machines. So you can see here the, let's see, you can see here the, it will be take some time because you can see that this site cannot be reached because we don't have any incoming traffic in this machine. Then how we can set that incoming traffic? So let me create. So how we can add the incoming traffic here? So by using of the inbound rule here, go to the security. In that security, we have to click on the security group. In that security group, so we have the inbound rule here. So whatever we have the incoming traffic for this here. So this is my custom IP. So 8080. So whatever we have the that type of incoming traffic, then we are going to allow it. So where we are going to allow it? Anywhere IP4 here. After that, you can see the we successfully mapped this 8080. So we are decided this type of the incoming traffic if we have the 8080 port mapping. If we have the port incoming 8080, then we are going to allow it. Then can we access our application? Yes, we can access our application access here. You can see here the, can we see, can we access? Yes, we can access our application. Earlier, what was that issue? So we are not use the incoming, we are not use the incoming port number. So that's why we cannot access it. So we have to allow that inbound rule. So already we learned these things. Where we learned these things, we learned in the our AWS series. So you can see here the welcome to DevTest build class. This is my Spring Boot application. Just I created simple application for the run the our Dockerization process here. So you can see here the, but how we can deploy our application. So we can pull that image. That image we are going to, once we pull from the Docker Hub registry, where we are going to pull, we are going to pull that image in our host virtual machine. In that host virtual machine, so already we installed the Docker machine. So once we run that Docker images, then what we are going to see here, it is going to create a one container. But can we access that container directly here? No, we cannot access that container directly here because we we don't know the IP address for these machines here. For these container machines here, we don't know IP addresses. So that's why we can do one thing here. So we can go with port mapping here. So we can port that host machine to the container machine and we can access our machine because we know the our application IP addresses. You can see here the, this is my public IP addresses. So by using of the public IP addresses, we can map easily and we can access our container which our application code is running on our container. Where we have the code is running right now, our code is running in the container. Can we see here the our application run here? No. Where we can see the application code is running, our application code is running in our only container. So, but I want to suppose I want to deploy the another application. Then can we deploy the another container here in the same host machine? Yes. In the same machines, we can create the multiple container. So whenever we using this application anywhere, any multiple machines, any kind of the operating systems, at that time can we see the issue? No, we cannot see the any issue because we are using here the containerization process. By using of the containerization process to avoid this mistake compatibility, then it is easy to deploy our application. So that's why we are going to use here the Docker here. So how we can create the images here? So in upcoming sessions, how suppose I rated the one application code, that application code I wanted converted into the images. Let's we will see, we will learn in our upcoming session how we can create the images, how we can pull that how we can push that images in my Docker hub. So if I want to, otherwise you can directly access that image at a local level, and we are going to create it and we are going to deploy it. So in upcoming session we can see it. So you can see the just we are following the architecture here. So right now, can we write it the Docker file? Yes, we can write it the Docker file, but right now, did we write it the Docker file? No, we are not writing any Docker file. Just we are using the existing image. That existing image where we have the that existing image into the Docker Hub or Docker registry. Both are the same. Just we are pulling it and we are calling that image. And whenever we running that image, we are going to create a one Docker container. And we can see here the we can access our application here. So this is my publicly, anyone can access my application here. Whenever I'm using the browser, so anyone can access my application here because, but whenever we use like this, then can we access it? No, we cannot access it because we are not finding the, just we are allowed to the 8080 port number. That port number, whenever we have the incoming incoming inbound rule, then we are going to allow it. This is the 8080 port is allowing my current machine. So that's why we are going to allow it. So anyone can access, anyone can anywhere because this is my application is publicly deployed. So this is the, we are going to follow the process here. So in upcoming session, we will see how we can deploy the Python application, how we can deploy the .NET application. After that, we are going to see the our how we can write it the Docker file, then how we can create the Docker images. Let's see. We will jump on our step-by-step advanced level. So let's see in upcoming sessions. In first, we will see the how we can deploy the Python application. After that, we will see the how we can deploy the .NET application. Then what are the parameters we required at that time. So we will see. So Docker file is nothing but it is a simple file we are going to create it. What type of the tech stacks we are going to use it to deploying the application. Just we need to the add it in that Docker file, and just we need to the run that Docker file. So this is the our Docker deployment process. I think that's it for today. In upcoming sessions, we will see our next topic. Thank you guys.